Hello guys, today we'll be modeling UV unwrapping and texturing this pump shotgun using Blender and Substance Painter. Let's get to it. Well, before we start modeling, there's a few things we need to do. First, we need to get some reference images so you guys have a point of reference to get all the dimensions correct. We'll be getting the reference image from my ArtStation account. There is a link in the description to the project. You want to grab this image, right click, and then save image as, and then save it on your desktop, and that's all that you need to do. Now that you guys have downloaded the resources, we can start the setup process. First off, at the bottom left you can see my keys. So you can see which keys I'm pressing during the modeling process in case you don't know how to perform a certain action. Next, we're going to enable our plugins. We go over to Edit, Preferences, and then Add-ons. First, we want to grab Auto Mirror. Just type in Auto. And then it should be Auto Mirror. You just tick the little box. Next, we want Node Wrangler. Auto Mirror will help us apply a mirror modifier and then cut the mesh in half, all in one go. Node Wrangler we will use once we are done texturing our model and bringing the textures back into Blender to do the setup process for us semi-automatically. Next, we're gonna grab Loop Tools. Take the Loop Tools. We're gonna use this to bridge some edge loops together during the modeling process. We're also gonna need Tri-Light. So Tri-Lighting we will use just to test the lighting or the texture to make sure everything is working correctly within Blender. I will not be doing a rendering segment for this tutorial. You can check out the Chesterfield tutorial if you want to see how I set up rendering. I will in future do an updated video with better lighting to show you a bit more tips and tricks. And we also, I think that's all the add-ons we're going to use for now. If I miss anything, I'll add it later in the video. Next, we're going to create our collections, one for the model, one for render, and one for reference. We're going to grab our lights and our cameras, press M, and then move it into the render collection. If you guys can't see all these icons over here, you just click this little thing up here and then tick the ones I have ticked, the ones that are blue. The first one just disables the complete collection. The second one disables the ability to select the object. So for instance, as soon as I tick that one, I can't interact with the cameras or the lights as they're in that collection and they're not selectable. I'm going to turn that back on. The second one hides it from the view, but when we render, it's still there. And the last one just hides it from rendering. So for our purposes, we can just disable it as we don't want to use the camera and lights at the moment. We want to select our cube. We want to move it over to the reference collection. Create a new one. I just want to move it over to the reference collection. So it should now be in your reference collection. We want to change the size of this cube to be a meter. So just set it to 1 for all three of these values. Just hide that again. Okay, so we're going to change the way the cube is displayed in our viewport. We also want to make sure it doesn't render, as it will just render over the object that we want to see. So it doesn't show up in rendering. Next, we're going to go over to our viewport display in our objects properties, a panel over here. I'm going to go down to display as, and we want to change it to Y bounds. We're just going to use this to size up our reference images. I'm going to go to front view, I'm going to shift add, and then we're going to go image and reference. Here you're now going to navigate to wherever you saved the file you downloaded from ArtStation, and it should be perpendicular to the view you're currently looking at. So it should be parallel to the x-axis, somewhere around here. And if it isn't, you can always just, okay, I'm just going to turn mine on because I already placed mine. So with your empty selected, you can then go and just change your rotation so that the x-axis is rotated 90 degrees so you can see it from the front view. I then want you to scale the object. Just press select it, press S, and then scale it so that the back of the pump shotgun touches the back of the cube, the left hand side of the cube. And I also want you to make sure that the front of the shotgun touches the right side of the cube. With your reference image now scaled properly, I want you to duplicate it. Then I want you to rotate it on the x-axis 90 degrees. Then go to the top view, and then I want you to move it into place so that the shotgun over here lines up with the x-axis. So you have a way to determine the depth of how thick your pump shotgun should be at different points of the model. I already have done this, so it should look something like this. As you can see, it's over the x-axis. With everything set up like this, we want to disable the ability to interact with these references. We also want to hide the cube as we no longer require it. We're going to use the front view to model the size and the top view to refine the model even more. This is where I start differing from you guys. I'm going to enable a different model. Just turn the model on so I can show you guys where to place the lines and the distances and all those things and the separate parts of the object. We are now ready for modeling. We'll start the modeling process off by making the barrel first, as that's going to be the fastest thing to do. Go over to the front view. Want to make sure our origin is our cursor is in origin of the world. Shift add. Want to add ourselves a cylinder. Change the vertices to 18. Want to change our radius to 0.0543 centimeters. Want to change our depth to 0.36. As this part of the shotgun is 36 centimeters long. We will now go into edit mode, X-ray mode, rotate it 90 degrees. Should rotate like this. Just move it by hand until it touches this part of the shotgun. Move it a bit down. Next we want to grab these front faces, the front face, so all these edges. Just make sure you've got X-ray mode on, or else you will only grab the front edges and not the whole circle. Then we want to inset it a bit. Just move it a bit, doesn't matter how much, we'll fix it in just a moment, and then extrude it the rest of the length. I press Ctrl plus to select more edges. Scale it in every axis except the x-axis, so we can make it a bit smaller, but keep it the same length. Perfect, it should now be exactly the right size. We grab this front face, I want to duplicate it. Shift D, and then we want to move it to roughly around here. We're then going to extrude it all the way to the back. That's with Shift E. Just move it a bit forward. That should be perfect. Next, we're going to add 2 edge loops. You can see my keys in the left corner for the adding edge loops. And then you just scroll up to add more edge loops. Press GG twice, press G twice, and then we just want to move these edges until they're right here, because this is where the edge of the shotgun should be, for this part of the shotgun should be. And do the same for the front side, right around there. Then we want to drop in one over here, right click and then GG, edge solid to right over here. We are gonna change our pivot point to active element. Hold shift, click one of these edges, press S and then X and then 0. That will scale it in the X axis so it will be perfectly aligned. Control R to add another edge loop. Select this edge over here. Press SX0 so it will align these ones. The next step that we're going to do is go out of X-ray mode, or else it's going to be a little bit hard to see. Go over to face select. We want to select the top face and then the two to the sides. We want to do the same for the bottom face and then the two to the sides. We're going to press X and then delete the faces. Now we're going to select the edge select. I'm going to change this back to median point for future use case. Press Alt Shift to select the whole edge loop. Shift Alt to select the whole edge loop. Now with your loop tools, we want to say bridge, and it's going to fill it perfectly. If your new shape doesn't look exactly like this one, you can go down to the bridge, as long as you haven't clicked away yet, or else you won't be able to do it. And you just undo and then redo it again. You go over here and play with the twist. So if it, for instance, was something like this when you started that, you can just twist it until it is like this. Mine ended up okay, so you should not have the same problem. Now we're going to do the front of the shotgun. We want to inset it exactly 2 millimeters. So it would be 002. So it gives us a 2 millimeter thick metal. And then we can again go to the side view. So that was I and then .002. Go back to X-ray mode. We want to extrude it now, as long as you still have your face selected. Just go to the front view. Want to extrude it all the way. Over here should be fine. And that's what we need to do for the barrel of the shotgun. We'll do this shade smoothing at the end once we're ready to do exporting, and we've decided where we want to place our seams and all those things. Now that our barrel is modeled, I just need to fix something real quickly. As you can see, I cannot select my barrel. That is due to the fact that it is currently not in the correct collection. So if you have it in the reference collection like I do, just untick the selected, and then move it over to the model collection. Next you want to select the model collection, just hide it, then select the model collection and select the model itself. If we now add things, it should add in the correct collection. Change that to 0.1 so it's just smaller. We'll use that for the chamber of the shotgun. So now it should just keep adding the object to the correct. Why do I keep selecting that stupid little origin? Now it should stop acting out. Okay, we're going to go back into edit mode, turn on X-ray mode. Just make sure X-ray mode is back on again. Grab the top of the shotgun, move it to the top. Front of the shotgun, move it to the front of the cube. X-axis over here. Broken, GZ. At the bottom. Why do you... Oh, if you press shift and then right click, then it moves the cursor. Okay, something like that. Okay. That explains why it's not doing what I wanted to do. Yeah, we're gonna grab the back of the shotgun. Just move it to edge select again. G in the X-axis until it's aligned with this. We're just gonna add in a couple of edge loops. First one, we're gonna go and GG and slide it. Add another one. And if you have not clicked on it beforehand, you can now just move it and then click the second time. The first time will lock the edge loop in, the second time would lock its position in. Now we want to add a few more edge loops. One for this side of the trigger guard. Another one for the other side of the trigger guard. There. There. Now we want to add one for this part of the this would be the safety for the shotgun. So let's add one in. Let's stop readjusting our shotgun. Move it only in the Z axis. We'll get the shape closer to what it should be once we apply the subdivision modifier alongside a mirror modifier, so we don't have to do a half of the shotgun. We're going to do a basic just getting this shape ready, and we'll do the finer details a bit later. Let's just move these parts into place. Perfect. Let's do the same with the back. We might want to move this one to over there. That might be a bit better. Okay. So there. Z. Perfect. Now we have all of these ones. We're gonna want to add a few other edge loops a bit later. We'll do that in a later stage. We want to add one edge loop here in the center to make sure the shape stays this shape. And we have these ones over here. This one gets added when we start beveling it, when we start applying the mirror modifier and the subdivision modifier. Now we are going to be applying an auto mirror. Go over to edit. If you have the plugin enabled, it should be under edit. We want to mirror on the Y axis and we want to set it to negative, so it mirrors from this side, from the front view all the way over across to the back view. Okay, we're going to press auto mirror. That should now cut the mesh in half. Next, we go over to the range, press add modifier, generate, and then we want a subdivision surface. We want to subdivide it twice, so we're going to bring up the viewport levels to 2. That will give us the shape we want. I'm going to go to top view, going to go back to edit view, edit, grab the front faces, G on the Y axis, until it touches the side of the shotgun we wanted to touch. Just make sure that your barrel is smaller than the actual chamber of the shotgun, or else it's not going to look very good. We're going to go to our front edge. We're going to just sharpen up some edges by adding another edge. Not touching it, or else that will cause problems, but fairly closely to the edge. Thank you very much. I'm going to do the same to the back side. Put up very closely to the back. Now see that we need to add 2 edge loops. And just G in the Z, touch, bring that one up. Same for this side. Just bring it down, bring it a bit up. This one can go up again. This will give us that indentation that we want, like this shotgun over here. Also has a similar indentation. And then we start inserting over here to give us the rest of the shotgun. Let's just go out of X-ray mode. Hide this auto mirror menu. Just turn that one and off the X-ray. These are the same, those are the same. We'll work on this area in a bit. This is that, this one will bind to that one, that one's that one, this one is this side of the trigger, that's that area, this is that one, this is that one. We have this one that's over here, and then, we have this one that's that one, and we another one. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, we're now going to move over to the stock of the shotgun, as this should be fairly simple and easy to model. Just make sure your origin is again at the center of the world. Origin, we're going to add another cube again. I'm going to move the cube in the x-axis until it's over there. Turn our X-ray mode on the back again. Solid and then X-ray. Gives us this white transparent look. Move this all the way till it reaches the back of the shotgun. Move this vertex down to there. Slightly back. Now we are gonna go and add a couple of edge loops again. Slide it until it's over here. I'm gonna add another edge loop. Move this one down a bit until it touches there. That one should touch there. We're gonna grab this one, move it down. Same for this one. At this point, we should start adding our subdivision surface modifier and a mirror modifier. So let's add the mirror modifier first. We'll head over to the auto mirror. So again, it will mirror from the front to the back. Leave the settings as is and just press auto mirror. Next, we're going to go and add our subdivision surface, generate, and then subdivision surface. We want 2 levels of detail in both the viewport and the render. We're going to apply it, so it's important we set the viewport levels. Now we're going to go back to the side. As you can see, it's completely broken what we wanted it to look like. So we're going to add another loop around the middle to give it a bit more rigidity. We're going to go to the top and change its thickness first. Y-axis. And make it at least as thick as the shotgun's chamber. So at least as thick, a bit thicker is fine. And then we'll add a little bit of shape to it a bit later. We can thin this one out a bit more. G in the y-axis, just slightly. Let's add a support loop to the back of the shotgun. Right around here should be fine. Grab it, G and Z a bit. Then we're gonna move it a bit back. G, the x-axis, perfect. Top should almost be aligned as well. Move it up a bit. Move this one a bit over. I think that's fine, it's close enough. The next one we want to add another edge loop for is still this face, and then we just want to sharpen up this. Want to do one for at the bottom here, so add one over here. You can grab these two, and just move them. Do that just now. Just GG them. Then G and Z. This one back. It's gonna give us our shape. Want to add one over here for that ridge. Z. Perfect. That shape's looking exactly how it should. Now we can finish up the one at the bottom. We have this one. This one we can move a bit back. It's pinching. You'll be able to see if it's pinching. Right around here. That supporting loop, we have this one. Okay, I added that one for the thickness. I'll add it in for now. We use it to change the thickness a bit. Show the subdivision surface so it looks similar to that one. Slide this one more. Just adjust it until we're happy. Now we're going to sharpen up this edge so it's a bit more flat. To move these vertices down. Match at least the thickness, the height there. Just moving things around until I'm happy with it. Organic shape. Might want to play around a bit. This is where you can make your own variation of the stock. You want to have a hole inside it, you can now start removing faces and joining and then extruding them back to the center, which I will do, but not for this model, as this one will be the most simplistic one. Yeah, that's perfect. We should now have the butt of the shotgun modeled. Make some adjustments so it's not as sharp as it currently is right now. We're gonna go over here. We're gonna go out of X-ray mode. We're gonna grab these faces. Go to the I can bring it in the y-axis. So that's a look. That's about the shape that we want the butt to be. Now just gonna make sure we get the sizes to match, as we've now changed pretty much everything. That. Back to X-ray mode. Now we just grab the vertices and move them up. So these ones. Smart. These ones. Perfect. Continue moving everything until you're happy with the shape. Again, you can make any shape you want. If you want to do something slightly different, go for it. You're welcome to post links to images that you've rendered out in the comments. Let's check how the this thing shaped slightly to match our barrel a bit more. There's just this part we need to adapt. So shape over here. Just gonna move them until it covers that. We don't want it to stick over too much. Size. This one, slide as close to Lightly. This one up. Forward. I'm happy with that. That's it. Well, we're basically ready to move on to adding some finer detail to our chamber. That will be the trigger and our safety and all those things. We'll start off by doing the trigger at the bottom. Go to front. Turn X-ray mode on. We're gonna select this face and this face. Press I and then inset it. Just enough so that we know it's inset, and these are the faces we want to work on. Face select, grab these two faces, delete them. I'll go to edge select, G in the y-axis so they are in the center. And I'll grab these two edges, slide them a bit more to the center, that's fine. Grab this one, go over to front view. Now you want to extrude it, scale it. Scale the other axis now. For now, we just scale on the x-axis. So constrain it to the x-axis by pressing X. X-axis, rotate it. Put a bit in the x-axis, want to extrude it again, rotate it some more, move it in the z-axis, rotate this whole thing, nope, we just want to select this one, the y-axis, G, that's fine, extrude it some more. And open the z-axis, rotate it a bit. Slide that a bit back, move this one down. Perfect, perfect. These ones at the top. Bring them down a bit. Just slide them. That looks okay. Actually, I think we'll leave those for later. Let's grab this face over here. Extrude it. Scale on the x-axis. S in the x-axis, x-axis, extrude, G in the x-axis, so we can move it a bit, start rotating it slowly, extrude, the z-axis, rotate a bit more, extrude once again, bring up in the z-axis, rotate some more. Okay, we'll breach this last one. Select this one, press X and then faces. Grab our edge select, press F to fill them, and then F, until we're all the way around. We're now gonna change the size because this is quite wide. We don't want it this wide. So we're gonna go to capacitor mode again, electro mode. So you can see through it. So just grab these bottom 3, G in the y-axis to make it narrower. A better way to do this would be to grab, I think these 3 are the ones we want to grab. Make sure that your proportional editing is on. G in the y-axis and then scroll until your scroll wheel is about this big, and then just move it all the way to the center. Just make sure you're not influencing the gun itself. As you can see at the top, where the circle is now touching the mesh where the barrel is. Where the chamber is. We don't want to change that shape, so just make sure you don't influence that, and then just scale it up until the point where it starts to narrow out here in the bottom. To see the shape of the gun, we are now going to turn our on cage on for subdivision surface. This will allow us to have a better judge of the shape. If you're still following with me, you should now. We're gonna join these and then add this little bit at the back. This fixes some problems I had with the mesh. So let's head over to solid mode. Grab this one and this one. I'm gonna press J. This will give us a nice clean cut. We are now gonna grab this edge and that one, and then say M and last, so we can merge those out. This one, that one, press M and then last again, just cleaning up the geometry a bit. Last, perfect. Now that fixed some geometry problems we were going to have. Over to the back. We also want to get rid of this shape over here, so we're gonna go and subdivide these two. Then we're gonna click over here, join them, leave. Do next is those in. And last, just moves our n-gons, so the faces with more than 4 vertices that connect, that make them up, over a bit away from the triggers. We also need to change the shape and put an n-gon over here. So how I did that was, I think I just merged this one last, and then I got rid of this edge. Perfect. That fixes all those problems. You can now just make sure it looks similar to the other one. we can thin this part out a bit. Now we just grab these edges. And we G in the y-axis. Turn our proportional editing off. Look around there, and then we can just G in the y-axis until it's thinner. Let's go change these. G in the y-axis, and there we now have the first part of the trigger done. The second part of the trigger is quite simple. It's going to be a separate part. Just to make sure that we get in the right place, we can just select this edge over here, Shift S, cursor to selected. That will move this little white and red dot over here. Be a little bit off from where we want it. That's fine. We want to add in a cube. Make sure our cube isn't that large. We can do like 1 centimeter. That's fine. Want to move it a bit forward so we have the origin roughly around where this trigger in the image is, as that's where it's gonna pivot if we want to allow people to animate it outside inside the game engine to match whatever animation they have already for their weapons. Okay, so that's fine. We're going to scale it in the x-axis, about 50%. So x.5 should work. About 50%, so it's 4.8. Next we're going to go to transparent mode again. I'm going to grab that one, extrude it, rotate it a bit, bring it forward in the x-axis, extrude it again, forward in the x-axis, rotate it again, scale it in the Shift Y, make it smaller in every direction except y-axis. We'll work on that in a bit. Again, rotate it a bit. On the Y. Move it like that. We can just scale this in the z-axis until it's thinner. Y. G and Y. S and Shift Y. There. Now we can just scale this one also. I'm gonna grab this edge and then bevel it. Time should be more than enough. These edges. Go into vertex select, that should work. G in the x-axis. Just slide that around a bit to space them more equally. Perfect. Our trigger is ready to go. Let's make it thinner. It's in the X and the Y axis. Now we can grab this front one. This in the Y axis. And then scale it until it reaches an appropriate size. To make sure it doesn't look that sharp, basically gonna select that edge, these three. I want to apply a bevel to it. I'm going to do bevel 1 bevel. Should give us a nice trigger. Perfect. Our trigger is done. Let's head over to this area. We're now going to grab these three faces and inset them. Just turn off, go over to face select, turn off proportional editing as we're not going to need it now. Let's select these three faces. So the ones that are over here. Now we're going to press I to insert it and then just move it forward. And we want to go and we want to deselect boundary. So it is a boundary. We don't want a boundary everywhere. Want to move it in the y-axis. So it's a bit closer to the center. We're now going to extrude it down. We can scale that in a bit by just moving it in the y-axis. Perfect. We should now have the shape that we want. Doesn't have to match exactly, it's just close enough and it's the easiest way to do it. Next we're gonna go, and with these faces all selected we can press Shift S to move our cursor to the selection. Gonna tab out so that we're back in object mode. Here we want to add ourselves a cylinder. I'm gonna change the cylinder size to just do a 1 by 1, 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. So 0.1 by 0.1. You can change this to 18. It's fine. We want to go into edit mode. We want to rotate it 90 degrees on the x-axis. It's going to put it exactly where we want it. Now we can scale it a bit. We want to basically go into this view. We want to scale it in the z-axis to make it a bit more like an oval. Now we want to rotate it on the y-axis. That. Move in the z-axis. Okay, we're going to move the whole thing as we want to keep this pivot point here for a moment. Move the whole thing up. Like that. Just want to make sure it's on the center. We want to change the y-axis to be 0. That's going to put it in the center of our scene. Perfect. We can now scale it a bit smaller. It's a little bit too large. Move it in the x-axis a bit back. Perfect. Now we're gonna bevel off the edges. This side and this side. Give it 2 bevels. Perfect. That should look okay. We're making this a separate piece so that if you're in a game engine, you can animate this separately. The same for the slider and the trigger. As these are moving parts, it's better to have them separate so you can sync them up to other animations. Okay, this is done. Now we're gonna head over to our slider so that we can start modeling this part. Okay, let's create this. Shift S to get our origin. No. Shift S to get our cursor back to world origin. Next we add in another cylinder. Change it to 18. Our radius we can do 10 centimeters should be fine for just to get it on the screen, and then our depth, let's also do 10 centimeters. Change it in just a moment. Move it over there. Edit mode, rotate 90. It's around the y-axis. Okay, we can start scaling it down. zoom in and move it into position. Go into X-ray mode so you can see everything. Change the Z-axis. Perfect, that should work. Okay, we're gonna grab the ends on this side. There, grab these ones. I'm gonna add. Let's do 2. Scroll up. Grab these ones. Place this one roughly in the middle of the line. Same for the other one. Couple of more edge. Okay, there. So we're gonna do 8 cuts. We wanna also select these ones. And we wanna bevel them. We wanna add 3 bevels. Just bevel them and then scroll up. It gives us 3 loops. Okay. That's fine. Grab this face and this face. We're gonna inset it so that it's just a bit larger than the pipe. It's gonna slide over. We're gonna right click. We're gonna say bridge. And we wanna say loop tools and then bridge. So it hollows it out. We're now gonna grab these top 3 faces, or top 3 loops. So it grabs everything. We want to press X and we want to delete the faces so they aren't a problem. Next we're going to grab this edge over here. We're going to fill it. Oh, that's not going to work. I didn't make the same number of cuts on the inside. Just give me a sec. Press / on the numpad. That way we focus on this object itself. Technically, just get rid of the inside faces. The neckboard should be fairly easy. I'm not going to do this twice, so let's go over to auto mirror. That little arrow, edit, auto mirror over the y-axis and negative, so it should keep this side perfect. Of these faces. See, before we extrude, we want to say we want to do snapping, and we also want to do it based on vertex. Now we're going to E, Shift X. We want to snap to this side. Press Alt M by distance. It should then merge this vertex over here. So if we now move that edge, it should move everything together with it. Perfect. We can now hide the auto mirror tab again. I'm going to grab this edge over here, and this one, as well as the one at the top, these ones. I'm going to bevel them just a bit. don't want 2, just want 1. So it just adds 2 new edges. We can then grab these ones, center all of them. Switch this over to 6. Select this one. This one. It's not just yet. Let's go with that one. Here, top part, E in the y-axis, snap it over there. That one, Shift S, cursor to selected. That should give us the center of the circle. You can now delete this face. Perfect. Try this once again. Let's select these edges. Okay. Let's say S Shift X. And if we scale them, they should indent properly. Same amount on all sides and to the correct location. We're now going to select this one, set origin to 3D cursor. So that should put the origin of the slider in the center of it. We can press / again to go out of isolation mode. Let's see if we can see the inside. Okay, we can see the inside of the slider. So we're just gonna grab the whole thing. Oh, actually, yeah, let's do that in edit mode. No, let's just grab these edges. It should grab everything all around. And we're just gonna G Shift X and just bring it so it just cuts into just a scale. Shift X, and that should just bring it in the barrel itself. That's how it looks. Pull it up. It's fine, we'll breach the edge loops. These ones. Let's go back into isolation mode. Keep the alt, select. Exactly the same. Loop tools, I'm going to say bridge. That's going to pull those up. These ones that are clipping aren't that big of a problem. We'll just move them inside. Just to fill up so you can't see inside the shotgun or see through the shotgun more accurately, as in most game engines the backface culling is on so you can see through the back of objects. That should give us exactly what we need. That doesn't look bad. Okay, let's turn auto smoothing on for all of the meshes. Just select everything and then right click. Want to say shade auto smooth. This doesn't look too bad. We also want to, for this one, we're going to go and select these edges. Outside, we're going to mark them as sharp, just so the auto smooth doesn't actually smooth them at all. Right click, mark sharp. That should fix that shading issue we had. The rest looks pretty good. You can do some small things like grab this edge over here and just bevel that a bit. That looks pretty good. This is fine. You can do the same over here. Just grab this edge and bevel it a bit. That's good. For this part, we can now grab these ones and make sure that they actually go into the shotgun. Grab these edges over here, move them in the x-axis. Just turn off my snapping. So they are actually inside the shotgun. It's a bit low, like mine is. Just grab everything that you just modeled and move it a slight bit up. Just a tad. Perfect. That's good. That should look very good. For the shotgun itself, we're gonna auto smooth again. I want to increase the angle. I can increase it to 45, I think is what should work. Perfect. This one's okay. So again, like if you notice any sharp edges, just turn it back to like 30. That's the default setting. Sharp edges like this, that's not how it should be. You just increase your angle until the sharp edge is gone. We'll now head over to creating the area where you put the bullets in and where it injects out of. Now that all of the other parts are ready, we can start adding the last detail to the chamber of the shotgun. We're going to do some destructive modeling at this point. We're going to go out of edit mode. We need to apply some modifiers. We're going to start off by applying the mirror modifier. We're going to apply the subdivision modifier. We're going to leave this one because it's just a smoothing. Now we should have enough geometry, and whatever we do on this side should not happen on that side. Perfect. We're going to go over to X-ray mode. We're going to just select these faces. Make sure you select the front ones and not the back ones. Move them up so they match that line over there. Want to do the same with these ones over here. This one. Yep. This one. Just offset it in such a manner so that we can actually see it. Move it in the Z-axis again. So we just offset that. Now we have that shape. We want to make sure we grab the faces and then extrude them. Okay. Solid mode, so we can just select the faces. Definitely this one. We should grab less over here. A sec. This one. G, Z axis. Perfect. Yeah, that matches it well. That in the Z axis. Excellent. Now we're gonna grab these faces. All except these last two again. We wanna move them in the Y axis. So let's go over to solid mode and face select. So we basically want to grab these faces. Plane. Don't want to select the references. Okay. Let's E them first, and then the Y, so we don't change the shape of the rest of the mesh. Shape Y. Scale them a bit. That. Okay. Basically want to get rid of this face. Probably keep it. Just gonna slide it a bit further so it's not that sharp. Cartridge. These faces over here. It's the edge over here. More. Perfect. These ones in a bit as well. Sharpen up these ones. Perfect. Select these ones at the bottom as well. Sharp. Instead the spotters, this is where the bullets will go. Again. Set it a little bit. Have some that there. And then extrude it in the Y-axis again. Like that should be fine. Maybe we should sharp edge over here. Select all those edges. Same for this side. As it seems to have copied those ones. Select all those. Right click and then clear sharp. That looks a lot better. Even clear this one. Sharp. Add some extra edges. That is what we want. Do the same for the bottom edge. Let's just bevel this one up. Tiny little. It's gonna give it a sharp edge. Let's see how it looks with this reference image. You can make this cartridge a little bit smaller. Select its front edges. Just move them up. Like that. And that's the shotgun's modeling done. We've done the barrel and everything else is ready. We can start applying all the subdivision modifiers and get those things ready. Well, it's time to clean up things, so we can start with UV unwrapping. We'll start by applying all the modifiers. And do apply and apply, leave the smoothing one alone. This one should have no modifiers, this one as well. This one also has no modifiers, this one has a mirror modifier, and this one should also have no modifiers. Next, we're going to fix one or two mistakes I made. As you can see, I didn't select the back of this mesh, so it only beveled one half of the mesh, which isn't what we want. So we're going to go to front view, isolation mode, turn it around. We want to do a line straight through the middle. We're going to apply auto mirror. Edit. It's down there. Auto mirror across the y-axis should be fine, and we want to do negative to positive. Perfect. You'll notice it will break our geometry a bit, but we'll just fix this in a moment. Okay. Gonna out of edit mode. There. Now we're just gonna quickly select these ones. That, and then we can just say subdivide. That should add a line in for us. Now we're just gonna join these ones, mirror off across, just do the same on the other side, and just join this one, join. We're gonna grab the other side, subdivide. Okay, that's perfect. I'm gonna grab these ones. And we can just select these ones that are going across like this, and we can dissolve, press X, dissolve edges. Now we want to grab from here ones, and the same for the other two. We want to go SZ, just scale it a bit. S and Z. Technically it should be flat, so it's fine. We'll just go like this. Then we'll do this one, vertex, and we'll turn it on. We'll go GZ and just snap it to that one. Same for this one. Snaps to that one, that one. Perfect. The same for the bottom ones. And grab all these edges from there to there, all the way around, and then we can do a G and a Y. I should put it an equal distance away over there. Grab here, there, all the way there. G and Y. Perfect. We can press Alt M by distance to make sure there are no duplicates. For these ones in the front, grab these ones. And then G in the X-axis, and then just snap it to one of those ones. Perfect. Now that should give us a good looking weapon. Perfect. Our trigger is ready. We can remove the center line as it's not gonna serve any purpose. Just dissolve edges. Now it's ready for the unwrapping. We'll head over to this part of the shotgun. We're gonna want to add a seam down the middle just to ease the unwrapping process. Just make sure it is in the middle. Okay. We're gonna want to do the same for the front. The front should... Yeah, no, we're gonna do the same for the front. Just so that we have a place where you can open up. Down the middle, that's good. And I think that's all the ones we need to add. There's that one added one at once. All down the bottom. Gives us one at the bottom. This one gives us one here. Yeah, I think we are ready. Perfect. Well, with everything ready, we're now going to start UV unwrapping. Well, the UV unwrapping process is pretty simple. We're going to mark seams and then we're going to use the unwrap tool to unwrap it. Close this menu as we no longer need it. Let's go over to the shotgun. Focus on the bud. Okay, let's go into tab. I'm going to grab these ones just off this pole. Select the whole thing. Just grab this one and increase it to 45. That's fine. Perfect. Okay. Just grab that one. Mark seam. Mark seam. I want to go down the bottom. All the way to the front. Again, one off where the pole is. Mark seam. This one is where the pole is. There's the pole, there's the one we want to mark seam, and that's everything for this part. Out of isolation mode, over to this part. Again, one off from the pole, mark seam, do the same on the other side, mark seam. Want to go down the bottom. Might want to click a couple of times, or else it's going to try and take a detour around here as it is a shorter path. There. 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 Mark seam. We're going to want to get the middle one here, which is this one. Sure. Yep, that one. Seam. Go back to solid mode. We're also gonna wanna do. I believe we're gonna wanna do this one with the pole, or this, yeah, we're gonna do the one with the pole. Mark seam. So that we can UV unwrap it properly. We also want to grab this one, mark seam. The rest should be flat enough. Just gonna grab these corners just so that it properly UV unwraps. Mark seam, the same for the other corner. Steam. Double check. Seam over there, seam at the front, seam at the bottom, seam at the back. Perfect. Forward slash on the numpad to go out of isolation mode. For this one, we'll just mark a seam around each edge. Back to isolation mode, pick one of these bottom edges, whichever one, doesn't matter. Just grab that one, mark seam, so that we don't have a full circle. Edit mode, we'll head over to the barrel, isolation mode. We can delete these end caps as they will serve no function in our model. They're going to be inside the model, so we don't need to waste texture space on them, and we also don't need them at all. Delete those faces. Grab this edge and just mark it as a seam. The same for this one. Technically not required, but I'm just going to do it. Mark seam. Next we want to grab these edges. Mark seam. The same for the top one. Seam. Marks everything. We want to grab these ones. Technically we don't need two seams on this part. I'll just remove that one there. Mark seam. Perfect. Grab this edge and that edge and mark seam. I go all the way to the back. Mark seam. That is the one we have. I want to grab a seam over here. I want to do the same for this one. Perfect. I want to add one seam over here. This edge we can just scale in a bit. Perfect, and then it will take away that sharp edge it had over there. That is gonna be all our seams for this part. We'll head over to the full model, tab out of edit mode, go in there. Now we're gonna grab these ones, just like that should do. Make sure we grab the other side, mark seam. I'm gonna grab this edge. We also want to grab the other side, mark seam. Now we can just grab this one and this one, as well as the other ones in the front. That should UV unwrap perfectly. We can just double check everything. We want to select, okay, I'm gonna hide the other references as we don't need them anymore. I am gonna head over to UV editing. It should open up a view like this. Just gonna make that smaller and then zoom it in a bit. So we're gonna press A to select everything in this scene. Your light should be hidden, the same for your reference models and all those other things. Same for the rendering. We're gonna press Tab to go into it. Edit mode, we're gonna select everything by pressing A. We're gonna right click. Oh no, we're gonna press U. And then we wanna do angle based. Let's see if we have any large problems. We'll have to check which vertices these are. Everything else looks fine. Why did it unwrap it like that? That's not correct. So I mark my seams. All unwrap angle base, formal. What's the UV stretch on that one? Over here, UV stretch. Why is? Oh, that part is over here at the top. Okay, that's good. Perfect. That should be like that. I thought that was like the bottom part where the trigger was. No, the trigger's over there. There, it's good. Okay, so we just need to figure out where this part is. Okay, we're gonna click on this one. Now we're gonna select these ones. I'm gonna press tilde and then view selected. Okay, we missed a face. That's easy to fix. We're just gonna select this. Okay, we haven't unwrapped this. Okay, cool. Select the top of the trigger, mark seam, and then you can just pick any of the sides. It doesn't matter which one. Just mark that as seam. We can do the same for the other side. It's really not going to make any difference. Mark seam, perfect. And now all of the things should be unwrapped. You can just do one more UV unwrap. All you unwrapped angle based. Perfect. That's good. That's good. Everything looks fine. Just check for any stretching or anomalies. I see nothing. You guys, anomaly is a lighter blue, and then it starts to go yellow and green, and then I think a red. But if you design your mesh properly, like the tutorials instructed, you should end up with a pretty nice blue mesh. This is where we have some stretching, and this is the inside areas of let me just minimize that a bit. It's right over here on the inside. It's this part over here, which isn't that important since we don't actually attach it to anything else, and you are probably never going to be able to see it. It's a very, very tiny detail, and it should be perfectly fine. Okay, our next step is going to be allowing it to automatically pack our UVs in the most optimal manner. Okay, we want to do average island scale, so it makes everything the correct size based on its actual size. Then we want to go pack islands. I think we leave the rotation as is. Allow it to rotate things, and that just gives us, okay, we also want to add a little space. UV pack islands. We want to leave about a 1% space, so it's 0, 1. Perfect. That looks good. That gives us all the parts we need with enough space for any texture bleeding that happens when we use Substance Painter. Okay. We're now about ready to move over to Substance. So the last thing I will do is export the model. We can go over to layout mode again. And we'll just get the last things ready for exporting the model. Well, we're almost ready to export our model. There's just a couple of things we need to do first. We're going to select this mesh, create a new material, as we're going to use that inside Substance Painter. Pump shotgun. Shotgun. Press A to select everything. Just make sure the other collections are disabled by unticking the little box. We're going to now make sure we select the part that has the material. Press Ctrl and L. Link materials. So now all the parts should have the same material on them. Perfect. The next part is we're going to ensure that all our faces are pointing in the correct direction. As you can see, this part of the shotgun isn't. It should be red. Everything else should be either gray or blue, depending on what version of Blender you're using. Go into edit mode, go into isolation mode, so we can just see that one. Face select should be our best option. Go to the front, Ctrl plus, select all those faces. Shift click, Control click, or click again. Select those ones as well. We're going to go over to mesh, normals and flip. Now our normals are all pointing in the correct direction. As you can see, the insides of all the meshes should be red. Go out of isolation mode. The next part that we're going to do is assign some IDs to our different parts. So the parts that we want to have the same color are gonna be the same, and the same for the parts that we want to have different colors. We're gonna make those different. Okay, in our case we want to have this one and this one the same. We might want to have these two different, and the same for this one and this one, but again we can decide once we get into Substance Painter. We're just gonna mark the different parts with different IDs, and we can always just add color maps on Substance Painter side. Okay, we're gonna go over to Vertex Paint. We want to check this one. We want to go and add some colors. So a color palette, a new color palette. Let's go to the white side. We want to add a red. We want to add a yellow, green. I'm just adding more colors than we actually need. It's just so that we have the colors in case we decide we need them. They already are here in the project. Okay, perfect. We're over at the pump slider. The whole slider is going to be one color, so we can just select everything. Let's select red. Control X, and that should fill it. Head over to object mode. Want to select the barrel. We're going to go to Vertex Paint. We want to do that a blue. Make sure you select the faces. We select everything. All. Tab. Control X. That's going to be a blue since it's a metal. I think we're going to make this part of the shotgun exactly the same as the barrel, but let's make it different just in case I decide otherwise. Select everything. Let's head over to Vertex Paint. Let's do a light blue. Control X to fill it. Object mode. Vertex Paint, we'll do a yellow. We'll do Control X. Head over to the trigger. Go into Vertex mode. Pink. Control X. That should now be most of the objects, if not all of them. Let's just check. What? This one. Vertex Paint. Okay, we need to do this one red as well, as this part and this part are gonna have the same textures on them. Control X. So all of our objects should now have vertex painted. Let's just double check everything. Make sure the trigger has. Okay. Check our barrels. Perfect. And our slider. Okay. With all of this done, we can now export. select our mesh, file, export, FBX, select the location you wish to export to, give it an appropriate name, in this case just pump shotgun, selected objects, mesh, and then we can just export. Everything is now ready for us to head over to Substance Painter and start texture. With the model now prepped and ready, we can start to do the texturing. We have Substance Painter open. New, select, navigate to wherever your model, your FBX model is saved. Select the model. We can leave this as is, or you can decrease it depending on your computer's computational power. The rest is fine. Okay. You should now see your shotgun in front of you. I'm going to delete this layer, we don't need it. Head over to texture settings, mesh maps, bake mesh maps. I'm going to change my output resolution to 4K so I have a bit of more texture space to work with when it's baking the different textures, maps, the normal map and ambient occlusion, all those things. I'm going to turn anti-aliasing on. Again, only turn this off if your computer has enough processing power. For ID map, we want to turn on our vertex colors. That's going to allow us to paint different parts of the mesh. Different materials, even though we only have one material for the whole model. Everything else should be fine. We're now just going to let it bake. It's going to go and create a normal map, a world space normal, an ID map, which is this one. Now it's going to do the ambient occlusion, bake all the dark spots and the light spots and cavities and stuff like that. A curvature map, thickness. And it should just be about done. I'm going to return to the painting mode. You're welcome to pause the video during that process if your computer is taking a bit longer. Okay. We're going to need a couple of textures. I'm just going to apply the textures and then we're going to work through each one. Going to do wood. Want the rough wood. You press Control. When you select a material, press Control, grab it, and then you can just drop it on a specific ID. Next, we're going to need copper. We want to go over to the smart materials and we want to grab the warm copper. I'm going to drop it on our trigger. If I can select the trigger. Nope. If I can select the trigger. Perfect. Next, we want to grab steel painted chipped dirt. So we want to type in steel. Then we want to grab, just expand this so we can actually read the names. Great, we still can't. Steel painted chipped. Sec. This one. Steel painted scratch dirt. Horn. There. Dirty. Yeah, we want this one. I'm gonna drop it on a few different parts. At least for my model, you guys can pick different textures if you, for instance, want painted section and not a painted section and so on. Okay. So now you should have this abomination in front of you. Not very good looking, but now we're gonna go, or we also need one more texture. It is rubber. We want this one. And we want to drop it on top of our wood. We will turn off the rubber first so we don't see it. We're gonna work on the wood and then we'll work our way back. So, for the wood, first of all, the UV projection isn't going to work very well because you'll have a very clear seam at the bottom and around the edge here, and it's moving in the wrong direction. So we're going to switch over to triplanar projection. That should fix all of those. I'm not very happy with this over here, so we're going to drop. If you put the hardness on really high, you'll get the seams over here, but we're going to put it on non-existent, so 0. And that should fix that problem. That doesn't look too bad. Same for the front. Also fixes the direction. I'm just gonna make that smaller since we don't need that anymore at the moment. Okay. Now we're gonna go over to first off the roughness. I want to put it to 0.2, so it has a bit of a it's been polished look, because it has been polished in most cases. And we're gonna change the color of the wood. You can decide which color exactly you want, but for mine, I'm going to make it a bit more light. Something along this line, so you can see my values over here if you want to copy them. Okay. Let's do the rubber. Let's just move it down so it is a part of the wood. So that completely covers our wood at the moment. First, we're going to do and remove the rubber. We don't need the rubber base. We're going to remove the wear as we don't require the wear. It's up to you now to decide if you want to keep the dust at the top or not. I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to focus on the dirt itself. First off, let's scroll down to the height. I want to reduce it so it's not as bumpy. I just want a basic so 0.02 should be fine. It's gonna give us just enough dirt so that we know it's been laying around somewhere. Doesn't look too bad. Now we'll do the trigger. Let's put the trigger at the bottom. Close the rubber. Okay, now we'll do the trigger. First off, let's change the color since copper is not going to work very well. Move it over to a darker silver. Right around here should work. See the values or the hex code. So that is fine. Adjust it a bit more as we adjust our metal for the shotgun itself. I'm just going to close the worn copper for now. Now we're going to work on our metal for the shotgun itself. First off, I want to make the metal darker. Right around here should be fine. I want the roughness can stay as is for now. I don't think I'm going to change that. Next, the paint is going to determine a few things. I want to turn off the dust. I don't think the dust looked that good, at least during the experimentation. So dust and rust is gone, or actually turn the dust and the rust off for now. Oh, wait, no, I remember what. We're gonna change the color of the dust. We're just gonna remove it. Oh yeah, I just made it black. Perfect. That's exactly what I did. Because then you can't see the brown flakes that leaves behind, but it still allows you to have the scratches. Okay, we'll go to the paint. I want to make my paint black or a dark gray, but I'm going to do black for now. I want to make it metallic because I can. There's no specific reason. The roughness, let's just leave it at 1. It should be fine. It's fine. Now we're just gonna decrease some of this wear over here. Let's click on our mask editor so we can edit our mask. Make this a bit bigger. Close that. There's quite a long list of parameters, so you guys are going to want to play with each one and just see what they do. In this case, this adds more scratches. This one is gonna remove these little chips. The curvature is gonna determine the wear. Position gradient is not gonna do anything that I can notice. Thickness, let's just scroll out because I think it's gonna affect this part of the shotgun the most. So this one is going to determine how sharp things are. This one is going to do the global contrast. We want to max that one out, as you can see. Actually, we don't have to max it out precisely. 0.8 should do, or else we're going to get very sharp pixelation everywhere. So if we just put it at like 0.8, it should blend that out perfectly. Then we want to go down to the second texture. We can check if the invert does anything we like. No. We can now just check the balance. What does the balance do? So the balance adds a little scratches. Too much and it pretty much removes all the paint. So let's just put it back at 0.5. The contrast again affects small details. So how sharp they are. So we can just leave this at like 0.4. It's fine. Scratch width. In this case, you're just gonna make the scratches wider. I don't like that very much. That does nothing much here. That also does nothing. These we can all just put it back at 0.5. I think this one is gonna determine how much paint we have. Chips. Contrast is again gonna change that. Back to 0. One I wanted to change at the start was ambient occlusion. Okay, we can now see that we need to increase how dark our metal is quite a bit. So we can go over to our metal, increase how dark it is. Perfect, that looks good. Now we still have a nice dark edge coming through. You can see the paint chips coming off everywhere. That looks fine. You guys are welcome to play around with different colors. I think actually I like the light metal a bit more. So I'm just going to decrease it. There, that looks a bit better. Let's check how the dust looks. If we do decide to put the dust on or not. Maybe if we do the dust. Maybe just a little bit at the top. Perfect. That looks good. We can go and increase the roughness for the wood just a little bit. Let's do 0.3. That looks like it's gonna fit a lot better. It's still shiny and everything, but it's not as glossy. So this is a very worn, very used shotgun that's been some places. Okay, now with everything ready, I'm gonna save my file in case I want to make changes in future. This needs to go wherever my project is. So I'm just gonna save it. Okay, that's gonna save that in case something crashes in just a moment, which can happen sometimes. Okay, we wanna go and export textures. You're going to export wherever you would like to export. In this case, I'm going to do exactly the same location I used for the 3D art. This is where my textures will be. I'm going to choose a file size of 4K since that's what I'm going to put the models online with. I want to pick blend. Is this the output template? Yeah, I'm going to pick Blender. Blender Principal BSDF. If you don't have one of these templates, you can create the templates. You should be able to find a YouTube video if it isn't here, but it should be on your list because there's a variety of other engines here as well, Unity and so on. So you just pick the Blender Principal BSDF. That's going to be it. You can pick the type of files you want to output, but the ones that output are fine for us. And then we're going to export. Our textures. Pump shotgun alpha can't be generated, which is fine. We don't need an alpha. There is no transparent parts, so it's okay. Okay. We will now be heading back to Blender to get the textures onto our model. With Blender open once again, we are now going to import our textures and set up our material. Let's head over to the shading tab so we have access to our nodes. If you enable Node Wrangler, then we're just gonna grab our textures and it's gonna do an automatic setup for us. Perfect. Make sure you're in shading. Now we can check how it turned out. In our case, very bad, which can happen. Just need to disable the displacement. That should fix most of the problems. Or you can just decrease the displacement. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna delete it. I usually don't use the displacement in most cases. Just grab these ones, move them up. Whatever, just put it inside that one. We have a metallic, a roughness, and alpha. Let's see how it turned out. I think it turned out too bad. I like the look and the style very much. Perfect. Just gonna set up a basic lighting setup. We'll go over to modeling or layout, either one. Go into rendered mode. Next we will just turn on our render, which will add the camera back in and the light. We are going to delete the light. We'll get the camera right now. Gonna grab this part of the shotgun, Shift S, Shift Add, and then we want to add lighting, a 3-point lighting. I'm just gonna turn on my screencast keys because it turns it off between sessions. There, now it should be back again. Let me just undo adding the lights because I want the menu. Shift Add, lighting, 3-point lighting. We're going to increase the energy quite a bit, like 500 or so. Let's do 700. That should be fine. Going to go into our camera. We will head over to view. Then you want to tick camera to view, so that way if we move around the viewport, the camera actually follows us. Now we just want to zoom in and then see what we need to change based on the lighting. Okay, I'm just gonna untick that one so I can move around. Let's do a render and see what it turns out as. Let's check how it looks in Eevee, how it looks in cycles. This is gonna take a little bit longer. That doesn't look bad. We might wanna tweak our background. Let's go over to shading. Want to change it from object to world. Nope, object to world. We can change our background to lighter gray, or maybe let's do a lighter gray. Just leave the other ones as is. Just leave it there. So we do a lighter gray. We can do another render. There, that's good. Now we can actually clearly see the shotgun, and I'm happy with the details. That doesn't look too bad. Well, that's it from me, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. You're welcome to leave some comments about anything you would like to see in future or things you would like to have done differently. See you guys in the next video. Goodbye.